It's almost time. It's almost time for more than 60% of the country to decide they're going to get healthy. I'm talking
Dun, dun,
about New Year's
dun.
resolution time. And I'm not trying to throw shade at Planet Fitness, but I think it's interesting. They always sponsor the New Year's Eve ball drop. The Dick Clark night is always sponsored by Planet Fitness. Oh, why would they think of doing that? Well, because
Hmm.
this time of year is when we all go, oh, I gotta get
I need to
healthy.
get healthy.
But I'm about to tell you what I told you last year, and I'll tell you every year until I'm dead and in the ground is that New Year's Eve, New Year's resolutions do not work and they're stupid. So let's go.
Heather, tell me how you really feel about New Year's resolution.
They're
No,
stupid.
it's so true because I think the same way. Now, I will say that there is something in my brain that likes the idea of a new beginning.
Sure.
If I can start tonight, but tomorrow feels better, I'm going to start tomorrow because I've gotten myself into a mindset of change.
Sure.
But that doesn't have to happen just with the new year.
There's a difference, and we talked about this last year.
Yep.
There's a difference between a resolution and a goal. And I'm
Yes.
going to change that this year because I've
Yes.
been doing a lot of thinking and researching and learning about goal setting.
Ooh,
And I don't even like the goal anymore. I like the plan.
nice.
I like the plan. I've recently come across a lot of research about visualization. I mean, I did a lot of visualization as an athlete, huge believer in it. But what I've learned recently is that it's more powerful to visualize yourself doing the work, working through the yuck, working through the not so sexy stuff, as opposed to visualizing the goal.
Yep.
And when I first heard that, I was like, my brain was like, no, no, we visualize the goal. That's what gets us excited, which that's still true, right? You still have to have the end goal in mind and get excited and get that dopamine hit. And, oh, I can't wait to do whatever. I mean, for me, I've decided I'm going to have a house on Flathead Lake in Montana. I don't think I've even shared that with you yet, Ashley, but
Oh, you're speaking my love
I
language.
know. So that is what my goal is, right? And
Yep.
so when I close my eyes, like I know what the house looks like, I know what the view looks like, I have it all down. I've done all that visualization.
Oh,
But sometimes that's not enough to get you there.
nope.
Sometimes you have to think about, okay, what about when it's 5 a.m. and my alarm goes off and I haven't slept very well and it's cold outside and my nose is stuffy and I just don't feel like it today. And when you visualize yourself in that situation and you visualize yourself getting your butt out of bed and doing whatever it is you were going to do, then your brain's like, oh, this is what we do. And so when that situation comes up, your brain's like, we've been here before. We get up and we still do it.
Yep. Yep. I learned from a very young age how to plan ahead. And it wasn't until I got older that I learned to pair that what I was actually doing was visualizing who I was in the future and predetermining certain choices so that if those choices, when those choices happened, I already knew what I was going to decide
Mm.
to get myself to a certain place. And I didn't realize that that's what was going on until I hired my first personal slash business coach. The first thing we did before we dug into anything into business, she said, where do you see yourself when you are 70 years old? And it was like, okay, this is stupid. Why are we doing this?
That's a
Like,
long way
you know,
from now.
she wanted to know where we lived, what color our hair was, what we drove, what we ate at the from the grocery store, what was our daily routine. I mean, she wanted detailed information of what we looked like, what our life looked like when we were 70 years old. And she said, now, what are the decisions that you are going to make along the way to get you there? Now let's make a plan. Now let's retrofit what, if I'm going to get there, This is what I have to do in order to get there. And so there was that whole visualization. But then it's like when those choices come, I've already decided
Right.
what I'm going to do because I know exactly where I want to go. So am I going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym? If that's the only time that I have to go to the gym to get to where I want to be, then I know that I'm going to make that choice. So when the decision comes to either hit snooze or get out of bed and go to the gym, the choice has already been made. I'm going to go to the gym.
Right.
And it alleviates that, the to and the fro and the inner conflict.
Yep.
I've already chosen. I've already decided. So it was like when I knew that we have a hereditary issue with alcoholism. And I knew that I didn't want that to be part of my life. So I knew that if I had to choose between an alcoholic beverage and a non-alcoholic beverage, the choice was already made. I was going to say no to the alcohol because I didn't want to live with the genetic consequences of possible addiction.
Interesting.
So,
interesting, because that's exactly how I've always made my choices. I've always envisioned myself as this super fit grandma. Like, I like when you said, what do you look like at 70? I have it down. I have a perfect.
Yeah,
exactly. I know exactly what my hair color will be. I know exactly what my lifestyle will be. The only question is who's going to be doing it with me, you know? And my husband's the same way. You know, he always jokes about how our kids are going to be like, where's grandpa? And they're going to be like, oh, he's out in the garage doing push-ups again. You know, that's just who we are. And we make choices in accordance with ending up at that finish line.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fantastic. I do this with clients frequently. When I go in and say, how do you want to feel in your space? What do you want this to look like? Well, sometimes they can't tell me what they want it to look like. I just want it organized. I just want it to look nice. Okay. How do you want it to feel?
Yeah.
And they can tell me, I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel at peace. I want to feel good. So they can tell me exactly what they want it to feel like. So when we're faced with a decision, do I keep this or get rid of it? What is it going to help you feel like if you keep it or get rid of it? And then the decision becomes a lot easier because they have a very clear vision of what they want their space to feel like. So even if you can't visualize it, go into it with, this is, the pre-understanding of this is what I want it to feel like.
Right.
So instead of making New Year's resolutions, like I like to pick one word, a theme for my year. And that just helps guide my decisions. But I've already gone into it knowing that a resolution isn't going to mean anything. I'm not going to stick to it. I want to visualize what I want and make a plan from there. Now that plan includes goals.
Yeah, sure.
To hit certain goals. But if I don't have a plan and I don't visualize where I'm going, I'm not going to have the decision-making capability that I could if I have a vision, if I set that plan and then I go at it. I pre-make those decisions and it makes life so much easier. I've already made that choice.
Right, exactly. I've learned too that goals can be, have a double-edged sword for women like myself and my clients, because we are so very much focused on reaching the peak, getting the A, checking the box. And so if I set a goal of, I'm going to lose X number of pounds and I don't hit that goal, it can have a very detrimental effect on my mindset and my mental health and where I am. And it can cause me to just absolutely head the opposite direction. So I have learned that it's important. Goals are great, but they are not markers of your success or failure.
Nope.
They're more like the lines on the road that just kind of guide you, like stay within the lines. I always think about when we were driving through Wyoming one time in the middle of the dead of winter and at night. And this was when we first learned that they don't plow the roads in Wyoming at night. Turns out, surprise, we're like driving through the middle of Wyoming. It's a blizzard. And we see the signs that says no plowing between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. We're like, well, here we are.
Oh dear.
And we opened up the door and we were in a tundra and the snow came all the way to the running board.
Oh my gosh.
And so my husband was like, there's these little reflectors poles that are probably 6 feet
Uh-huh.
tall on the side of the road, maybe 8 feet tall. And he's like, okay, I'm just going to keep it between the reflectors, And I feel like goals are like that, it's like
Yeah.
it guides you, but it's okay if maybe once in a while you're not exactly in direct alignment with it, or maybe the goal needs to shift a little bit this way or that way. And I just think you have to be really careful. That's why I said I'm done with goals. Like,
Yes.
I'm not going to just set a goal, because then if I don't hit my goal, then I fail. Then what?
Right.
If you make a
You're
plan,
deflated and then you feel bad and then
yeah.
you go through this spiral. Right.
So I've got my plan. I've got my goal that I would like to eventually hit. But if I don't hit it this week, or if I don't hit it this month, or even this year, eventually, if I do hit it, will I still be happy? Like, if your goal is to lose 50 pounds and you're like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds by June. If you lose 50 pounds by August, are you going to be mad?
No, who would
No.
be?
No.
Honestly.
No,
Yeah.
but by June, if you're so dead set on that goal, you might go, well, I blew it, when you're just about to reach it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where, and it's funny because my daughter's ski team, they started doing goal setting. They were doing SMART goals. And I was like,
Ah,
so we had to have this conversation of goals are great, but
but yes, there's always the caveat. And that's what comes down to, we can have guidelines, but it has to be personalized to you.
yeah,
So find those guidelines. Those goals can be those guidelines, those boundaries, those barriers that keep you on the right path, that keep you from going off into the snowdrifts. But it doesn't determine your success. The success is when you arrive, when you get through the craziness of Wyoming to get to the other side, you've reached your goal, and that's what you ultimately, feel good about. But the next day you got back in your car, didn't you?
Yep.
Like,
And we got to our end destination.
Yeah.
Right. Our destination, we got there. Did we get there when we planned? Hell no.
No.
We got there hours and hours later than we thought we would.
Oh, no.
But damn it, we got there. And we had a blast doing it, because it was us and the deer and the moose and the snowflakes.
Like, hey, look, there goes another one.
Don't slam on the brakes, because we won't get going again. Just let it keep hopping by.
Just a slow roll. But that just sums up so much of what we've talked about on the podcast this year. We hope you've gotten a lot of good information from some of our latest episodes. We will continue on in the new year with new guests and new amazingness. But if you get nothing else from this podcast, just know that we don't believe in New Year's resolutions. We don't believe in that mentality, that psychology. We want you to visualize who you want to be going into the new year and make a plan to get there. Include goals if you need, include motivation if you need, but ultimately your success comes when you feel like you have reached where you want to go. It doesn't matter when, as long as you're on the right path to get to where you have visualized going in the first place. We love you. We'll see you in the new year.
Happy New Year.